Hey guys!
Hey!
Welcome to the adventures!
And welcome to winter driving.
Yeah. So, every
Fun.
winter we like to give a couple of videos, at least one video about some driving tips and different things like that. So if you missed it, I'm going to start a playlist for just winter driving tips because we've got quite a few videos now with all different kinds, like how to tell if the road has black ice, all different kinds of things. So make sure you check out those videos, especially if you're new on the road. So if you've been driving less than 3 years, I highly recommend you check out those videos because the East Coast and a lot of the North hasn't gotten snow in 2 years. So you might not have driven in it much.
I may have to go back and watch some of them as a refresher.
Yeah. But I want to just give some short, quick tips to help you guys during this winter.
About a month ago, I asked our boss for a pair of snow chains. He's like, why do you need chains for your truck? You're going to Florida. Well, just as luck would have it, I would much rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them. But we're supposed to get like up to 8 inches of snow in the next few days. Yay!
It's so pretty.
Maybe I'll have to use them, maybe I won't, but if I need them, we got them.
Yeah, so other times that you might use the chains, you're thinking like not on the roadway, is if you were to get stuck. So maybe you're in a parking lot and you really can't get up, but you can roll a little bit backwards. You could put the chains on so you could continue to get out of the space. Or maybe you're hooking and you can't get underneath of that trailer. You could throw those chains on and it's going to give you traction to go ahead and hook up your trailer, and then you can pull out, take the chains off, and hit the road. So
and we
just a couple ways.
We actually had to do that in New Mexico a couple of years. We were trying to get in off the road. It was just a sheet of ice.
Bad.
And we were trying to get up the small incline into the truck stop, and we didn't have chains. We had to go in and buy chains just to get into the parking lot.
Yeah, that was the last time we were caught off guard without chains.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, I'm going to go ahead and give some bunk tips and tricks, and this is for the winter time. I highly recommend you get one of these blankets. It's a heater blanket, but it's for the 12-volt adapters. I'm going to highly recommend this because in the wintertime, your mattresses get really, really cold and almost frozen. And so Willow knows what this blanket is.
Mm-hmm.
It will warm up your mattress and thaw it out so that way after you come back from your 34-hour reset, you can sleep on the mattress within like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's pretty much thawed back out. But then also if you break down or things like this is just an added extra way. I know there are a lot of places where there's Arctic temperatures right now out in like Wyoming and stuff. So if you even have to park, if you're a solo driver for your 10 hours overnight, that's definitely going to help keep you a lot warmer.
Mm-hmm. And also, we always carry a Mr. Buddy. Just one of the small 1-pound bottles. We keep 2 bottles in the Mr. Buddy, so you don't need any electricity for that. If a battery dies or the truck dies, you don't have power.
Truck freezes up.
The electric blanket is not going to work necessarily in that case. So the Mr. Buddy, we used it in our Glamper, which is a 6x12 enclosed trailer that we turned into a small camper. But just with the pilot light on, and that kept it tolerable. But
yeah.
That in that case with the 2 bottles, that would probably last you 8 hours, I would say.
And I know a lot of you are like, oh, that's not safe to be using inside, this, that, and the other. Well, it sure beats freezing to death.
Not safe to freeze your butt off either.
Crack your window if you're not feeling safe and put the Mr. Buddy on. And why are we this precautious? Because unfortunately, yes, we have been stuck without power in the middle of the winter, having to wait hours upon hours for a wrecker to come get us off the side of the road. It sucked. We got cold, and from there on out, we were like, not happening. How do you know if it's like snowing and misting and raining? How do you know when it's safe to get over in front of somebody? Sometimes it's really, really, really hard to tell because you get that salt grime on your mirrors and you have the heaters on, and it just gets so bad that you can barely see out of your mirrors. But there really isn't a safe place to pull over, but you do feel safe enough that you can pass another driver. How do you know when to get over? So I was always taught in trucking school that you want to give the driver a safe space. I know it's really, really difficult in today's world with nobody knowing the proper following distance. But I was taught that you divide your mirror into different quarters or thirds. And so either from the mirror, from the half point, or on the top third of the mirror. So once that truck behind you or the vehicle behind you, you see the headlights reach the middle of your mirror and then to the top of it, that is a safe following distance that you can get over. And I really recommend doing it in the wintertime because you're casting off a lot of overspray, snow. You don't want to create a hazardous situation for the driver you're passing. They're probably going obviously a lot slower than you, so they might be a little bit more nervous than you. It's not polite of you then to create more fear and anxiety or possibly a dangerous situation by knocking all of that mist, all of that snow right into their window so they can't even see.
Or maybe they're just driving at a speed that they feel comfortable at, but you feel like you could drive faster, but you've got to realize, especially in a light powdery snow type situation, if you're passing somebody, they can't see nothing because all that spray and snow is blowing right back into their windshield. So just keep that in mind. Also, something you can consider doing is seeing if you can find an alternate route. There's been some occasions that we were coming back from California, we're routed to go up 44 in through Joplin and St. Louis and then across 70 back to Maryland, but it was like an hour and a half longer, but we stayed on 40 all the way over through Nashville and then all the way up 81, and we missed almost all the snow. So if you're able to do that, then please do.
So I'm always big on tracking, and throughout the time, if you watch us on Facebook and Instagram, then you've seen me post about this and our stories about like outrunning a storm or avoiding a storm. And so there really is a science, and there really is something that we do to help that. And so we watch radar, and we start watching it when we know there's going to be a storm. So tomorrow we'll start watching radar closely. Probably, I think it's starting, we usually don't get back to like Hagerstown until like 9 p.m. So we're going to back that up like 6 hours. And we're going to start tracking radar 6 hours from where the storm is, or even the day before, and try to start coming up with an alternative route or which way we need to go. I did this on Tuesday for the storm. I was leaving out of Hagerstown, and so I was looking at the storm to find out if I should go down 81 over to 66, 17, and back to 95, or if I should take 70 to 495, down 95. And when I was watching the radar, especially right before I left, I watched it all the way down into Richmond, Virginia. And so if I would have taken the DC route down to Richmond, then I would have been driving in more of the storm and active snow would have been falling, freezing rain. But if I went down 81, then I was only going to have to run in the storm until Winchester, Virginia, which is like 40 minutes on the road. And so 40 minutes, I knew that I was going to be then hitting a gap between the storm. There's still going to be stuff on the road, and there was for about 3 hours, but it sure beat active snow the entire time, just dealing with slush on the road. So it was a better option.
Not to mention all the people that she didn't have to drive around through the DC area in snow.
Yes. And so once I start tracking radar, then I also go to Google Maps and I check Google Maps and I look at it, the traffic patterns. So if you're seeing yellow and red, yellow, it doesn't mean that there's necessarily an accident, but it does mean that traffic is not moving at highway speeds and that it's slowed down. So you know that the roads are going to be slower. And so when I looked after I did the tracking and I saw that I was going to be able to make a gap, I didn't want to rush to get to Richmond, but I didn't want to stay too long. So I stopped for like 20 minutes to make sure that I kind of let the storm pass and that the salt trucks were out. But then before I went and got on Google Maps and I saw that all the way to DC and through DC was yellow. Mm-hmm. And down 81 was only yellow to Winchester. So it just gave me some confirmation that that's where the active snowfall really was. That's where the roads were worse conditions. And then there was red spots down along DC. And so it helped me avoid potentially having to go around a lot of accidents. I didn't see any active accident scenes the entire time. So that's kind of how we do some rerouting and around. We've used this for pretty big storms and avoiding being in any accidents. Scott and I, as team drivers, have over 1 million miles together in the last 7 years. We've driven over 1 million miles, no accidents, in the time that we've been together.
Probably even more than that. I don't even.
Yeah, and that was just the last 7 years. Like, we don't even keep track. But you guys, we drive so many miles. On average, 5,000 miles a week, sometimes up to 6,000 miles. So we really drive a good many miles. And so we're giving you the stuff that we do every day, every year, every winter season, all the time. That's keeping us safe out here on the road. So I know it's going to work for you guys too. So those are our quick winter tips for driving and being in the truck. But you guys, remember always, like, if you don't feel safe, if you're getting too nervous, it's not going to allow you to have a sharp mind, and you're not going to make as good decisions, and that's where accidents happen. So if you're not feeling safe, remember, your license is your career, so pull it over. Don't allow dispatch or anybody to persuade you or bully you into staying on the road and driving if you feel unsafe. You can always get another trucking job, but you can't get another license. So you guys, take it slow, take it easy, don't take chances, and be safe.